Hello, thank you for listening. This is the near-death experience of Brian. And Brian's experience occurred on February 17th of 2018 and was documented on April the 20th of 2018. A couple months. Should be interesting. Open quote. I had a very profound and hyper-real visitation by my guardian angel. I've since named her Angee. Mind you, I don't know her real name, but I got the impression they don't have names as we know them. She accepted my referring to her with the name Angee during the encounter instead of a generic term like angel. It started Saturday evening 2 or 3 weeks ago in mid-February of 2018. I was working to help my sister through some rough spiritual issues that were going on a few months prior to this experience. That Saturday evening, before she left, she told me that she felt that she was really going to be okay after talking with me all of that day. I went upstairs to watch a movie, but got a strong suggestion to just go to bed early. Following the hunch, I turned off the movie, then I took some Tylenol for a headache that I felt was coming on. I heard a distinct, soothing female voice tell me, "You're not going to need that tonight." So I put the medicine away and went to bed. When I laid on my pillow, the most beautiful female voice I ever heard came to me again. She said, "I have a small gift for you tonight." At this point, I brushed her off, saying, "Yeah, right. What kind of gift can you give to me?" I must be extremely tired because now I'm hearing things and talking to myself. She then responded that she would let me sleep for 4 hours, but that she would be back for me. I agreed and told her that was fine. I just wanted to sleep and didn't believe I was actually talking to anyone. It was 8 p.m. at that time, and I fell asleep fast. The strange thing was being aware of her before sleep. As I went to sleep, she was still there in my mind's eye, standing nearby. She was in front of a large gateway filled with gray light with a mist rolling around its edges. She was smiling and watching me. I thought that it was unusual to have a figment of my imagination do that, but oh well. I was tired and slipped into gentle darkness. The next thing I saw and felt was my figment of imagination coming back. She reached over and gently grabbed me under my arms while she lifted me out of bed. When this sight/sensation happened, I had a wonderful feeling that went through my body and down my spine. I knew something about this dream was different. I felt what later I can only guess was unconditional love and other positive feelings or sensations that words cannot convey and that I had never felt before. I told her that I must be having a lucid dream. She smiled and said, "It's not a dream, hon." I then exclaimed, "Sure it is. These are really realistic. I read all about them, but I don't get these too often." She then said again, "You're not dreaming, and when I put you back in, you will know it's not a dream." Then another level of heightened awareness came to me in another wave as she held me. I told her, "I must be dead. Somewhere my body is choking to death or I stop breathing." She reassured me that my body was fine. To ease my anxiety, she let me see it peacefully lying in my bed. The time I noted from my clock by my body was 12:10 a.m. I then doubted what she was, and asked, "Are you really an angel or something else? Can you prove to me that you are?" She smiled and told me that this was common from the earthly perspective. There, doubts exist. So she took my hand and we went to a higher space. As we moved, something even more extraordinary happened. Suddenly, I had no doubts. I didn't have any, all caps, other negative emotions or thoughts because it was not possible to think of such things. all of the laws, rules, and conventions of mankind had vanished. At this point, the word bliss does not convey or come close to explaining what I experienced. She smiled and said that all I was feeling was a small taste of the love he, all caps, has for me and all of us. This encounter lasted for over 4 hours. She told me many deep, private, and meaningful things about myself, about humanity, and how we are all the same and made of his light. She said she was made of the same light as we all are, that we are all fractals of him. She told me this was my reward for searching for him and his truth. She was so happy for me that I had gotten so far in my own determined search. She was glad that I had the presence of mind to ask him for assistance to help me in discerning the truth with the piles of ancient papers, books, and modern references I had read and collected for years, looking for my own answers. When I looked at her, I thought to myself, if ancient man had seen something like this, is this how religion got started? Would they consider her a god? She immediately read my thoughts and gave me the message. I was not to worship her. She was an emissary of our Creator, sent to help me on my own unique spiritual path. I was allowed to be thankful he had given me such powerful help in my quest. I was assured that Angee really did exist. She told me all of this was happening because I deliberately went on my own path to find him. She showed me how years ago I had discarded my old music tastes. I then learned to listen and appreciate music that was inspired from a higher level of consciousness. This was music that didn't hurt the spirit and mind with negative messages or discord. I also stopped watching movies and show materials that pandered to the lowest common denominator. I avoided the temptations of drugs and alcohol. I engaged in self-sacrifice to care for others. I did not get involved in relationships that did not have true love at its core. I would repeatedly deny my base human nature for high ideals and standards that I achieved for myself and expected of others. That because I had deliberately reached out to him, he came halfway to meet me. This was despite the difficulties and distractions of Earth at this time. My mission was to encounter and hear the divine. She told me that I did the right thing when helping my sister. When I was confused or had doubts, I prayed directly to him for guidance, to find the words to help when I needed. This help, I had asked for him to be in my life, to have my guardian angel involved in my life, to be able to hear them easier to do the right thing and make better choices that help others. She affirmed that he heard every thought I ever had. She told me that there was no shame in having a human experience or being a human being. Please bear in mind that while she told me these things, she gave me very clear messages of examples from my life to help clarify the meaning. She showed me how she was with me from the beginning and how she helped me in childhood when I was frightened or had nightmares or made difficult moral choices in life. She had shown me all the beings, heroes, and archetypes that she was in my dreams over the years to help allay my fears and guide me in a positive direction. At some point, I had told her that I did not want to go back. This was more than everything I could imagine or hope to be real. She told me I had to go back. She said that she only had a certain amount of time to show me things, that I was doing important work and was an important part of his plan. I was shown how sad people would be if I left that night. Even the smallest kind of kind gesture to others ripples through to soften hearts. I am where I'm supposed to be with the people I'm supposed to be with. Words and thoughts have power, and that keeping in a positive frame of mind and speaking politely was important, despite being faced with the negativity and ignorance of others. She told me that I was perfect as he saw me. She said that I was too hard on myself many times, when in reality we learn lessons on earth and make mistakes was part of the learning process, making mistakes. That this human form was for a specific purpose, to interact in this world, to do the jobs and roles he chose us for. All things are for a purpose. From our smallest perspective, we can't see the end result, but that it was worth it and something beautiful in the end. Time had no meaning. I could have been there for 1,000 years or 10 minutes. The love was so overwhelming that I had forgotten about material things or the illusion that time was. I was shown various material objects that I had wanted throughout my life, but that I did not care about any of them while here with her. Someone could have offered a planet for me to rule over, but I did not want it. That love was enough. I could have existed on the love alone. She showed me all the times in my life where someone had hurt me. There were thousands of instances of pain, some long forgotten, but now were shown to me in vivid detail. She asked me if I was able to forgive. I was able to forgive them all from the perspective I was seeing it from. She smiled when I forgave everyone, saying that this is the biggest thing one could do to go against their base nature instead of perpetuating pain upon others. Because we are all a part of him, we only hurt ourselves when we hurt others. They too are an aspect of he, just as I am. There really was so much more. Most of the encounter and talk took place on a beautiful alien planet. The landscape had with a 500-foot tall tree in an open plains. There was a river and beautiful storm in the background with violent lightning. There were many strange things, beautiful plants and insects, the likes I've never seen anywhere. She said we could explore this world someday. It had a thick atmosphere, but low gravity. Angee was 15 feet tall, beautiful, and stunning to my eyes. Her eye color was gold, and they emitted light like the sunrise. There was not a negative tone to her speech or to any feeling she expressed or any negativity to anything I felt. Her speech was far more eloquent than I could ever attempt to imitate. She also emitted a soft, light, glowing hue from behind her. I was given the impression she could appear as anything to convince me of her status to convey messages from our Creator. She was going to put me back in my body at 4 a.m., but I begged for an extension. I saw her look back over her shoulder toward the green sky. Someone seemed to be talking to her, but I didn't hear anything. She then turned back towards me and said I could have 30 minutes, but no more than that. In that time, she showed me that love was actually like a physical force, like gravity, electrons or photons of light, and that they pass through all times, places, and dimensions as they are actually a part of Him in everything. When she put me back, I felt like I was putting on a heavy, tight diving suit. 2 loud knocks on the bedroom door snapped me awake to remember everything vividly. I felt like I weighed a single pound. This feeling of unnatural peace, being lightweight and feeling love, persisted for 12 hours that Sunday. I also had the sensation that I was physically held at some point, as in my dream. When I sat up in bed, she then instructed me to get up and start my Sunday by washing everyone's clothes to help my grandparents. The humor was not lost on me as I pulled clothes from the dryer. One moment I was in another dimension on an alien planet with a being of unimaginable intelligence and grace being told the most profound secrets of the universe. The next minute, I was folding boring clothes to put in a boring basket for boring work today in a mundane world. I got the impression she would visit other times in my future, and that I had made a promise to follow her as my personal teacher to help me get closer to our Creator. End quote. Wow, Brian. That's lots of information there. What an amazing experience you had. You know, I was thinking what the other day about love, and your talk, your message here, or Angee's message, what you saw really hit home. She showed me, quote, she showed me that love was actually like a physical force, like gravity, electrons or photons of light, and that they pass through all time, places, and dimensions as they are actually a part of Him in everything. And just the other day I was thinking about love and how we create love, and how thick it is and how it does last. The love that someone you have for someone that passed away, they're not here anymore to love you, but you can really still feel that love immeasurably. I mean, it's a substance, it's a force, and we've read many stories of how what survives, the love survives. And you can see maybe that it really, not only you created here, it thickens and grows, but it sticks around, and maybe it goes with you. I think that's a big part of something. Of course, it's always good to have lots of love, and wouldn't it be nice to have your guardian angel Angee coming around to help you out? Not without a lot of hard work there, Brian. I see that for sure. So there are some questions here. No life-associated, life-threatening event. Was not ill, just tired. So, question, did you feel separated from your body? Answer, yes. When I became worried I was dying, she opened up a gateway that allowed me to see myself in bed. It was from a perspective looking vertically down on myself and the surrounding room from the ceiling. I clearly left my body and existed outside of it. Question, how rating your highest level of consciousness, comparing more conscious and alert than normal. There were a few levels higher than my everyday consciousness. I felt exactly like myself when she took me from the body, but I was free. When she took me to that place of flowers, it was even higher. But when I wanted to know what she was, it exceeded everything. I think I was one with all things in a way because only truth existed. And question, when were you at your highest level of consciousness? Answer, when I doubted what she was, and then she gave me no doubts. Question, did time seem to speed up or slow down? Answer, time seemed to run normally in that field of flowers, but other events before and after caused me to lose any sense of what linear time was. Question, comparing your vision. Answer, it was the same at first, but when she took me to the field of flowers, it was extremely vivid. I could zoom in on anything I was interested in. I had a wider field of vision. I saw my hands. They were made of light, but translucent and grainy / misty, hard to describe. Comparing your hearing, answer, clearer than everyday hearing. I have tinnitus from a work accident, but things were so clear there to hear her words. Question, did you pass into or through a tunnel? Answer, yes. After she pulled me from the body, she said she wanted to show me a place. She took she took my hand, and I distinctly remember traveling very fast through space with lots of stars passing by. It was very much like the warp drive or hyperspace from sci-fi movies. I counted 5 seconds until I was suddenly in that field with her. Question, did you see an unearthly light? Answer, yes. It was never harsh, but the light was shining through the green atmosphere of that place was so perfect and pleasant to me. Question, did you seem to enter some other unearthly world? Answer, after thinking about the incident, this angel knew so much about me that she took me to a place I would be comfortable with. I love sci-fi movies and fantasy stories. The place she took me to had low gravity and thick atmosphere. This was something I always thought would be neat to experience if I was an astronaut. The life there was different and interesting, just like life here was different and interesting. It was like when I was discovering the natural world with my dad at the age of 4. I felt like a little boy again, wanting to go explore this new world. I did make an attempt to run to the tree. I moved in great leaps and bounds in the low gravity. Angee was kneeling down and looking at some of the plants when I bolted toward the tree. I heard her yell out to me, "You can't go there," as I ran, but because of her great size, she caught up to me and caught me by the left arm in mid-jump. I'm beginning to think if I made it to the tree, there was no coming back. Maybe. Question, what emotions did you feel during the experience? Answer, I felt incredible joy, bliss, love, and all positive emotions, and no negative ones. Question, did you suddenly seem to understand everything? Answer, I know at one point I felt like this during the event. The angel showed me that I had a great imagination, but she asked me if I'd like to see some of his imagination. I was shown an infinite multiverse with planets represented as grains of sand in a matrix and microscopic organisms living on those grains of sand, that each form of a living thing spawned countless other variations of forms from it over time. Very hard to describe what I was being shown. Question, did scenes from your past come back to you? Answer, I remembered many past events. I was shown many events of my current life from birth up to my current age of 42. These were arranged around me in a hemispheric arc and many high-definition view screens. I could look at each of the incidents from any angle. I could see the thoughts I had at the time and the thoughts of the others at the time. Question, did scenes from the future come to you? Answer, I was told that I would not want to know my future when I started asking her questions, but she showed me a quick image. I was in an argument with engineers at work, working on a project I never saw before. A month after the experience, I was assigned to work on another project and encountered exactly the scene she had shown to me. I was accurate right down to the specific parts for the project we were arguing about. Question, did you come to a border or point of no return? Answer, when I told Angee that I wanted to stay there with her, she told me many things about what that decision would cause for others. She showed me my dead body in the bed. She showed me that my 89-year-old grandmother would find the body that morning and how devastating that it all would be for my family. I was shown my funeral and my grieving family, who wondered how I had died so suddenly. I really wanted to stay, but instinctively and immediately I knew it was the wrong decision to stay. Question. What was your religion prior to your experience? Answer. Unaffiliated, nothing in particular. Raised a Catholic, but the past 5 years I had a lot of questions and did a lot of research, reading many books to try and find answers. I also prayed for answers, since some materials I read were confusing to me. Question. Have your religious practices changed since your experience? Answer. Yes, I am much less judgmental and much more forgiving of others. Question. What is your religion now? Answer. Other faiths. I would say spiritual. I certainly believe in God. Question. Did your experience include features consistent with your earthly beliefs? Answer. Both consistent and inconsistent. I asked about alien life while in the field with the angel, and though I saw some, she reaffirmed that this was a very large universe, one of many others. Did you have a change in beliefs because of your experience? Answer. No. Did you encounter a mystical being or presence? Answer. I encountered a being. She was what I would consider an angel. She was 15 feet tall. I'm 6'6", and beside her, I look like a 4-year-old walking with his mother. Question. Did you encounter or become aware of any beings who previously lived on earth who are described or named in religions? Answer. No. The angel mentioned that I was doing good to follow the teachings of Jesus. Question. During your experience, did you gain information about pre-mortal existence? Answer. Yes, I wanted to know, but was told that it was not my time to know any such details. She did tell me that I was more ancient than I know. This answer prompted me to want to know about reincarnation. Question. During your experience, did you gain information about universal connection or oneness? Answer. Yes, Angee mentioned how we are all connected and that hurting others is only hurting ourselves. She mentioned that we're all a part of God or aspects of Him. Question. During your experience, did you gain information about the existence of God? Answer. Yes, Angee made repeated references to God or Him or the Creator when she explained things to me. Question. During your experience, did you gain special knowledge or information about your purpose? Answer. Yes. I was made to understand that I was very important, but that every living thing and person is every bit as important as I am. Question. During your experience, did you gain information about the meaning of life? Answer. Yes. Angee told me that this is a place for learning. Everyone is important, and how we treat each other here is important. It was also very important to learn and make changes to our behavior. When we learn that we're hurting others, we need to make a positive change to not hurt others and to respect all living things. Question. Did you gain information about how to live our lives? Answer. Uncertain. I think the easiest way to explain it is to use the golden rule, to not judge others because they are on their own learning journey here in this world as I am on mine. Question. During your experience, did you gain information about life's difficulties, challenges, and hardships? Answer. Yes. Angee mentioned that I was living in a difficult time, that there were many distractions, many vices that one could fall into because of the way this time period is with technology and with how people act in a negative way. She mentioned I had done well to avoid drugs and alcohol, but that I was eating poorly. She was referencing my bad breath, She was referencing my bad habit of eating beef jerky, pizza, and snack foods. I politely told her that I had to have some vices here and was not giving up the snack foods. She laughed. Beef jerky, pizza, and snack foods. What's wrong with beef jerky? Question. During your experience, did you gain information about love? Answer. Yes. That there are higher levels and expressions of love than what we can comprehend in the physical world. We are loved by God so much that even what I encountered was only what I could understand. God's love went beyond that. Question: what life changes occurred in your life after your experience? Answer: moderate changes. My grandmother passed away 2 months after my encounter. I know that I would have been an emotional wreck, as I loved her as I do my mother. Knowing that all of it is real and that we go to such places gave me and other family members great peace in dealing with her passing very recently. Question: was the experience difficult to express in words? Answer: yes. If I described just the different types of strange plants I saw or that giant tree, I think I'd have a 500-page book, not including some of the most eloquent words I've ever heard. Everything that came from Angee was like beautiful poetry. Question: how accurately do you remember the experience in comparison to other life events that happened around the same time? Answer: it was so real that I don't even have to close my eyes to see that beautiful landscape. I remember her words crystal clear. No psychic or non-ordinary or other special gifts. Answer: question: are there one or several parts of your experience that are especially meaningful or significant to you? Answer: yeah. When I believed I was talking to a figment of my imagination, and later having that figment be a real being who cared and loved me very much, that she came back to show me something incredible. Yeah, that is pretty cool. Question: have you ever shared this experience with others? Answer: yes. 1 month after the family and a few friends I shared it with had a positive reaction. I'm not the type to make up stories or look for attention. I tend to approach things carefully to tackle a problem and look for anything that would rule out the supernatural. Question: did you have any knowledge of near-death experiences prior to your experience? Answer: yes. I had heard about them years ago. I only heard a few stories and chalked it up to lots of painkillers and other factors that led me to believe they weren't a reliable source of information. Angee specifically mentioned my searching NDERF.org to find some of my answers during the encounter. I've been convinced after reading so many reports that there is a truth within all the many reports. Well, I do too there, Brian. I haven't seen Angee, though. Maybe sometime. Question: what did you believe about the reality of your experience shortly after it happened? Answer: experience was definitely real. It was just too real. I made so many protests to Angee that this was not happening, that this was just a dream. I was convinced that this was just my imagination making me feel good about my choices in life, only to have her fight back and show me how it was happening, why it was happening. The feeling I felt after that proved it was not a dream. I also, for most of my life, suffered from frequent headaches and migraines. Near the end of the encounter, I've noticed that I don't get headaches like I had been getting for years. I was suffering anywhere from 2 to 5 headaches a week. I remember asking Angee why I had to suffer with them for so long. She could see my life and see just how many countless days were ruined by the headaches I suffered and worked through. I asked if they could be taken away. She said that she would see what she could do and have me turn around. I remember her touching me behind the neck with her finger with a loud electrical snap or pop. I commented that, wow, that was loud, but I don't feel any different. It's been 2 months, and I probably had only 2 headaches. Not bad ones either. Question: what do you believe about the reality of your experience? Answer: the scenery I can remember as if I was actually there. It doesn't change with my imagination. It's solid, as if you try to remember things looking out of your window into the backyard. Question: at any time in your life, has anything ever reproduced any part of the experience? Answer: yes. In 1997, when my great-grandmother died, I was devastated and 21 years old. The night after the funeral, I was so distraught, but something invisible came into my living room. I suddenly stopped crying and felt better. I woke up the next morning with that same sense of peace and love I felt recently. Question: is there anything else you would like to add about your experience? Answer: there was just so much more, but much of it was also very personal for me. I thought it might be helpful to share parts of it because it helped my family and me. Perhaps it would be able to help others when they put this report along with the others collected here to see the common theme. End quote. End questions. End story. Thank you, Brian. What an amazing experience you had, and so eloquently put it down in writing for us here to read and for me to read, for other people to listen to. I enjoyed it a whole lot. And thank you again. And thank you out there for listening. I hope you have a great day.